Hello, everybody. Happy Thursday. Um, I'm recording this class actually on Friday, January 7th. And I wanted to say that because today we just found out Sidney Poitier passed away. He was the first African American actor to win an Oscar. He was an activist. He was regal. He left an incredible legacy for us as artists. And such a trailblazing act, especially for actors of color. He was one of my favorite actors. And so today's class, I'm going to play a couple tributes to him. The first will be from the Kennedy Center Honors, which he was honored with in 1995. The Kennedy Center every year honors artists who have made immeasurable contributions to arts and culture. He was also honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Film Institute in 1992, along with also having an honorary Oscar for Lifetime Achievement, a SAG Award for Lifetime Achievement. So today, like I said, we're going to look at his full tribute on the Kennedy Center Honors, and then also look at what Denzel Washington said about him when he won his American Film Award Institute. And I thought that was really beautiful because Sidney Poitier was the first African American actor to win an Oscar, and Denzel Washington was the second. It was a really beautiful passing of the torch for me. So that was really, really beautiful. So I want to share that with you guys. We won't do Move It and Groove It today, which is going to use this class to honor the life and legacy of Sidney Poitier. So we'll look at those two, and I am going to give you the character challenge after we look at these two clips.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 1992 Kennedy Center honoree, Paul Newman.
Mr. President, Mrs. Clinton, honored guests, Sidney, where are you? Smile. Gotcha. Sidney Poitier and I did a picture together about 100 years ago. And I discovered he's a very private person. It's hard to know if a private person is your friend or if he's just less private with you than he is, let's say, his rowboat. Actually, the film we did was a film called Paris Blues. It was a jazz film, and Louis Armstrong was in it. Louis spoke of Sidney with hushed reverence. Louis said, "This guy cannot keep a tune. He cannot find the beat. He cannot finger the saxophone, but look at him, he sure fools me." We all play many roles in our careers, and Sidney has also had to play the role of social pioneer. It was a role he did not seek, but no one could have filled it better than he did. It's hard to believe that it's been 50 years since he's been on the stage, but his work since then has been a pilgrimage of startling grace. He has not only made films, he has changed the face of film itself. Of course, in all of these years, he has not learned how to play the saxophone. And if Louis Armstrong couldn't do it, I don't think even you could, Mr. President. But aside from the saxophone, Sidney, you are a superb example for all of us. Tonight we salute you, and to put it in the simplest terms, you are one serious, delicious kick in the rear.
Well, you're pretty sure of yourself, ain't you, Virgil? Virgil, that's a funny name for a nigger boy that comes from Philadelphia. What do they call you up there?
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
Cat Island, Bahamas. It was home. No electricity, no running water, and an 8-mile hike to the tomato fields the family farmed. He was the youngest of Reginald and Evelyn Poitier's 8 children. Loose-limbed, good-looking, and an inch away from trouble. His parents sent him to live with a brother in Miami. Everything was clearly marked, he said. He was stunned by the strict separation of white and black. He bought a ticket for as far north as his money would take him. He arrived in New York with the clothes on his back. He slept on rooftops. He took what work he could get. Then an ad caught his eye. Acting, he thought. Well, it couldn't pay less than washing dishes. The director of the American Negro Theater was aghast. You can barely read. Your accent is impossible. You're wasting my time. He bought a radio and for 6 months listened and listened, studying voices and polishing his speech. He failed his second audition. Then let me sweep up in exchange for acting lessons, he said. The company took him in. An understudy, there came the night, he went on for the star. A producer saw him and cast him in a Broadway show. The part was small. His presence was all they talked about. 3 years later, he was in his first movie. His talent was never in question. But would Hollywood have the courage? I walked onto the back lot, he said, and the only other black face belonged to the shoeshine boy. He stood alone in the light, raised himself to his full height, and he compelled us to listen.
All I want is to make a future for this family. All I want is to be able to stand in front of my boy, like my father never was able to do to me, and tell him that he'll beat somebody in this world besides the servant and the chauffeur. Huh? You tell me that, huh?
In one groundbreaking performance after the next, he closed the distance and stepped firmly into movie stardom. The first black actor to carry a film. The first black actor to win the Oscar in a leading role.
I'm a Baptist. I don't go to Mass.
We go.
Well, how'd you get there before I came along?
We walk every Sunday, now we got you.
Now, damn it! You ain't got me.
Good night, Schmidt.
Now, get that very straight.
Schlafen Sie wohl.
And cut that out.
Bless you, Schmidt.
He made his boldest strokes with the fewest words.
In the meanwhile, you just killed yourself a white man, just about the most important white man we got around here, and picked yourself up $200.
I earned that money 10 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Colored can't earn that kind of money, boy. Hell, that's more than I make in a month. Now, where did you earn it?
I'm a police officer.
He left no doubt in the roles he chose and the words he spoke, exactly where he stood.
Dad. Dad. You're my father. I'm your son. I love you. I always have, and I always will. But you think of yourself as a colored man. I think of myself as a man.
Whether behind the camera or in front of it, it was not movies he was making, it was milestones. Once he stood alone. Today, Sidney Poitier stands as the beginning.
Ladies and gentlemen, Louis Gossett Jr.
You know, I had the distinct privilege of working with Sidney Poitier, or as we affectionately call him in New York, Sidney Poda. In the film and Broadway production of A Raisin in the Sun, he had such a large influence on the male members of the cast, especially the way he walked. He had, if you've noticed, a kind of a hip first kind of, walk. He'd come. All of the male members of the cast began to walk and talk like it. Well, I don't walk and talk like you anymore, Brother Sidney. But I do follow in your footsteps. I have in my life. And you've never steered me wrong. I salute you. There is another generation of young people here that want to salute you too with a song that I think that you might recognize. And the song is from Lilies of the Field.
Wrapped in a manger on Christmas morning. Down at the Jordan, where John Baptized and singing on sinners. See him at the seaside, talking with the fishermen and making the disciples. Marching in Jerusalem, over palm branches.
Greetings, Mr. Poitier, from the Voices of the Next Generation. You have been an inspiration as well as a great role model to each and every one of us, and we'd like to congratulate you on your Kennedy Center honor. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, James Earl Jones.
Sidney established the height to which we actors must go. He brought an extreme integrity to his career and to his place in society. And once he set the height, he left it for us who followed to establish the breadth, especially African-American actors. So whatever the rest of us do, It will always be true that Sidney proves the ideal. So Sidney, much of what I am as an actor, I owe to you. Thank you, Sidney, for all of us. There's a simple song that Sidney Poitier learned as a child on Cat Island. The two words of the title describe the man we honor tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, to sing that song, Miss Jessie Norman.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I was grace that taught my heart to fear, and grace my fears relieved. How precious did that grace appear the hour I first believed. Through many dangers, toils, and snares, I have already come. 'Twas grace that brought me safe thus far, and grace will lead me on. When we've been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun, with no less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun.
He won the Academy Award for his performance in Glory, Denzel Washington.
Thank you. Sidney Poitier. I met Sidney for the first time in 1977. He probably doesn't remember. I was just graduated from college, came to Los Angeles for the first time. I was walking down Wilshire Boulevard, and I looked into a bookstore, and there he was, Sidney Poitier. Literally the man of my dreams, the only time I've said that. He was, he meant everything to me. I mean, he was a positive example of elegance and good taste. He was a source of pride for millions of African Americans. He was a great movie star that was appreciated by millions of people all around the world. So I took a deep breath, I walked through the door, and for the next 10 minutes I snuck around, hiding behind books and magazines, acting like I was going to buy something. I didn't have any money, but finally I snuck up close enough to him where I was breathing on him. And he turned around and he said, "You're breathing on me." No, he turned around and turned around and said, "How are you?" I said, I'm Denzel Washington. You don't know me. I haven't done anything." But he was very kind to me, and I felt at that point we were friends. So I did what any friend would do, any actor would do. I took out my picture and resume, started begging for a job. But he was very patient with me. He was very kind to me, and he didn't give me a job. In fact, Sidney, you've never given me a job. I wanted to talk to you about that. But he did something that was much more important. He gave me his time, his advice, and I can honestly say that the reason I'm up here today is because of Sidney Poitier, because of the time he gave me, the advice he gave me, the example he provided for me and many other African-American actors. I love you, I respect you, I imitate you. God bless you.
All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the clips and just to see the legacy of Sidney Poitier's work and the contributions he made. For our challenge this week, I want to know what inspired you about that clip. What inspired you about watching the clips. So again, create a video or a voicemail and share with me what inspired you about those clips. And that's what I want you to share. Just how it can share how it made you feel, what it was like just to listen to his legacy and what people thought about him. So how did that inspire you? And that's what I want you to share for your first creative character challenge. All right, guys. Thank you for joining me today. I'll be back tomorrow with a brand new class with our Code Reading Friday. But again, because of the passing of Sidney Poitier, I wanted to create a special class for him. So that's what I did today. All right, guys, I love you. I miss you. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.